Hey, this is Robert Monroe, and I'm here with a quick one. I just wanted to talk to you about two awesome tips to get the most out of trying to learn by ear. Especially if you come from a more sheet music background or by rote, you've been studying piano or an instrument for a while, and you've mostly been making progress by just watching tutorials or learning by a teacher or potentially just by looking at sheet music. You know how to read music, but you want to get a little bit better at learning by ear. I got two just general mindset things that I think are going to really help you. And so let's just get right into them. The first one is I think you need to have clear expectations, or even more than expectations. You need to have kind of presuppositions. You need to have basically ideas of what you think is going to happen, and then be okay with them being wrong. What do I mean by this? Let me give you a clear example of what I mean. Imagine that you're playing a song and you decide that it's in B flat major. Okay, that actually tells you quite a few things just there, knowing what key something's in. We know that there's going to be two flats, right? B flat and E flat. We know that the main note that we're probably going to keep coming back to is B flat. We know that the melody is probably going to use notes from the B flat major scale, and most likely actually is going to use notes primarily from the B flat major pentatonic scale or minor pentatonic scale, depending on what genre you are in. Again, that goes to another thing you can pull out. If you have an idea of what genre it is, you also can make some ideas. Like, for example, if it's pop, most likely it's going to be triads, 3-note chords. If it's more jazz or maybe neo soul, some of these other genres, it's going to be mostly 7th chords. Again, all of these things are assumptions, presuppositions, expectations, whatever word you want to throw on there. They are things that you are anticipating to be true before you even start learning the song. Another thing you can pull just from knowing B flat major is you know all the chords, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. All of these chords are going to most likely be correct 99% of the time. Does that mean it's definitely the chords in the song? No, absolutely not. And so one of two things is going to end up happening. You're either going to keep getting your expectations being met with a resounding yes, this is correct. And that's going to let you go, oh, wow, I thought this and it was true and that was great. But you almost learn more about a song and how the song is going to go when they refuse your expectations and you are proven wrong. Let's imagine that you think the song's in B flat major, but you hear an A flat major chord. This is the flattened 7th chord. Very common if you're going to have a chord substitution. Guess what? Now you can go, you know what? They're probably going to do another flat 7 chord, because that's generally how music works. You set a precedent, and the best musicians, the best artists teach people how to listen to their music. Once you learn one Beatles song, I can tell you right now, it's so much easier to learn another Beatles song, because you learn all of their idiosyncrasies, all of the weird things that they themselves do that nobody else really quite does. That is big point number one. Have expectations, but then be okay with being wrong. The being wrong part is actually best for not only learning, but also learning that specific song, because it's such a strong signal to have a confident idea of what something is and then fail to achieve it. This is actually going to be very huge compared to trying to keep an open mind and be ready for anything. That sounds good in theory, but in reality, because you have not made a strong guess and a strong expectation, a strong idea of what it is, then when you're wrong, it's all kind of mushy, and then you stay in mushiness, and this is where it gets really tricky to actually get solid results with learning by ear. People who don't start from an ear background tend to feel like music is very mushy when they learn it by ear. They don't really know what chords that play. Is it a G minor chord? Is it a B flat major chord? They don't really know what notes in the bass, what notes in the melody. It's all fuzzy. We want to avoid that. The second, and this goes right along with that, is we want to build slowly towards a clear goal. I think another thing people really mess up is maybe they pull in some extra materials, right? They get a chord chart from somewhere and maybe they have the sheet music written out and then they're just kind of like pushing through the song and they're getting sort of kind of figured out. They learn a little bit of the melody, a little bit of the chords. They don't even really know what's going on with the bass. And it just continues to compound the mushiness. I know I've said mushy and fuzzy a lot, but I really want to hammer home that is where you do not want to be when you're learning music by ear. When you learn music by ear, and let's be honest, when you learn music, period, you always want to keep it in a concrete, strong place. That is how you're going to get the best results out of the music learning. Now, how do you learn this so slowly with a clear goal? This is very status dependent of where you are as a beginner, intermediate, advanced. But I would say almost always it is best to learn the bass line first because that is going to tell you not only what the chords and the melody are, kind of, because here's the deal. The bass is going to determine the function and what's going on harmonically with the song. If you know the bass, you can rule out a ton of notes and rule in a ton of notes. So I would start with the bass and just pick a reasonable section. You know, if you're quick with your ears, maybe you do 8 measures all at once. If you're not so quick, maybe you do 4 measures. If you really are having a hard time, there's nothing wrong with going, I know the first note's B flat, I don't know what the second note is. B flat, E flat, nope, not correct. B flat, F, nope, not correct. B flat, D, I got it. Now I've got the first 2 bass notes. Again, sounds laborious, sounds like a pain. Be honest with yourself. If you are that much at the beginning stages of learning by ear, there is nothing wrong with that. But the only way you're going to progress is doing that type of slow and steady trial and error procedure. Now, there are other ways to get good at ear. It's not the only way. But again, I just want to throw out some general ideas that are going to really help. The final thing, kind of as a bonus, since you've stuck around, thanks so much, is writing stuff down. If you just play by ear and you never ever write down anything you're learning, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. Go ahead and jot down some of those notes that you found, and then you have this foundation to just build upon. That is really, honestly, the ultimate trick of all of this. You want to build upon the things you're doing every day, and then what you'll find is you're going to get pretty good at this ear stuff. Well, I'm Robert Monroe. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do a ton of videos about music and about learning and just the theories of learning and how we get good at this stuff. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, have a great day.